Station and being a part of the show. All right, welcome back to the BCSN Game Time Watch Party. Brian Fulford, 80, watching the FAMU and Alabama State, this SWAC East matchup. Simulcast. And we're going to apologize to our viewers out there. Had a little technical difficulties during the halftime show. So we apologize if you were watching our stream and you missed the 100. Some football here. So Alabama State starting with the ball on the 25-yard line. Try to get you some halftime statistics here, although there wasn't much I can tell you for Alabama State. That's one thing we do know. We get that right out of the bat. So Ezra Gray with an 8-yard rush to get things going for Alabama State. Quarterback is still Ryan Nettles for State, the Hornets.
You know, hey, Brian, while we're slowly into this action, a couple other scores from around HBCU football. Start off with some BAC action. Delaware State and Wagner are in overtime, tied at 27 apiece. A couple of games that have gone final. St. Francis beat Wagner. Howard defeated Sacred Heart for their first win on the season. South Carolina State defeated Bethune-Cookman. Norfolk State defeated Hampton in overtime, 47-44. And Mississippi Valley defeated Central State, 17-16. As we have, our video has paused here, but we'll describe the action that we see on our monitors.
Yeah, well, I want to catch people up here. I'm not really sure where we're going to jump back in at. We're definitely a few plays behind the actual plays. So this was the second down play. Well, no, check that. That was the pass that was intended. We're going to say the receiver was down. Karan Jones was the intended target there. It's an inside handoff. Looks like that's number 2, Ja'Cory Merritt, with a 6-yard run. Nettles. There's a little option toss right there, Drew. Jeremiah Hickson up the sideline, and guess what? The Hornets are in FAMU territory now.
For the first time.
Right, Jeremiah Hickson. That was a 19-yard run there by Hickson on the pitch from Nettles. Good decision to give that ball up right at the right time. That's a long toss, though. You know, when Drew, I'm old enough that I remember those old option tosses by Tommy Frazier. They never seemed like they were that far away. That, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
His intended target right there was Terrence Ellis. Ellis wasn't even looking for the ball. I don't understand how a receiver runs 5-6 yards down the field and doesn't get his head around and look for the ball. I mean, obviously he was
I
running a particular route.
don't know, but after all that running, I would definitely be running, looking for the ball also.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the quarterback, Nettles threw it like he was anticipating Ellis to turn around here.
Basically, he zigged when thought he was going to zag.
Yeah. 2nd down and 10. Ball looks like it's spotted at the 42-yard line. Nettles again in the shotgun. And this time, that was a good decision to throw that one away because his receiver would have got blown up. That was Tevin Sharp. Would not have been pretty. So it looks like we've got a 3rd down here. 3rd down and 10. We gotta. I know we want to get crowd shots and all, but I'm always amazed at how we get the back of people's heads on some of these crowd shots. All right, 3rd and 10. Ball spotted on the 42. Nettles, empty backfield. Looking to throw. Here comes the blitz. Gets away across the 40 out to about the 35. Trips out of bounds. Let's see where they're going to spot him at. I think he only got about 6 yards to go out of bounds at the 36-yard line. All right, so this is 4th and 4. Big play here for Alabama State. Nettles. Oh, blitz right up the middle. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, nothing there. So great job by the defense. You can see Coach Simmons is fired up. I believe 93 is General Hunt. Is it 93 General Hunt? '93 is Donald Hall. Defense is putting on a clinic right now. FAMU's defense is imposing their will on Alabama State. I didn't see the Miles game, Drew, but a lot of people were really high on Miles' defense in that game against Alabama State. I'm curious how
Yes.
this compares. That's Cameron Sapp, who's in at quarterback, number 2, and that little RPO read he ends up being stuck with.
Yeah.
It's a loss of 2 yards there.
Both defenses in that Alabama State Miles game played spectacular, forcing the other team to do some things they were not comfortable with. Speaking of Miles, they trail Albany State 7-3 with just under 10 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter.
Okay, good score update. You can see Rashawn McKay is back in at quarterback for FAMU, number 17. That's Terrell Jennings in the backfield behind him in the pistol formation. There's Jennings, and he's met. That's going to be a loss. Yeah, the number 52 and 58 for Alabama State did a great job of punching their way through that offensive line there. Austin Burnbridge, number 52. All right, here comes McKay again. Pistol formation. Dropping back to pass. Up the field, and nice catch. Nice throw over on the sideline. Let's see who comes up with that. Of course, that is the X-Man, Xavier Smith. Just makes every great catch, doesn't he?
That man's going to be special. You know, he may have an opportunity to be a special teamer at the next level.
15 yards on that particular play.
Quick snap right there by FAMU.
There's
that man.
One, 9 yards again. McKay to Smith. And now the Rattlers are in that tempo. And there's no checks. You notice this, Drew? There's no checks to the sideline. They're just running it and going. That time is for 6 yards. So 3 straight passes from McKay to Smith. Now, when they run a few substitutions in, that's when the officials
they have to allow the defense to sub.
Yeah, exactly. They can kind of slow things down. McKay quickly back in the shotgun. I believe that's Bonnet who's back there. He's rolling to decides to go down the middle of the field. His receiver, I don't know if the turf grabbed him or what, but he lost his footing there. Going across the middle of the field.
That's brand new turf, so I don't think the turf monster got him.
Chris Sanders was the intended target there.
And they didn't trip over to do where they had to cut the BAC out the turf and put the SWAC down on the turf.
No.
Like we got
All right, we got a timeout on the field. Let's take a quick timeout and get caught up. You're watching the BCSN Game Time Watch Party. We'll be back right after these words.
Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens.
All right, back to live action here. 2nd down and 10. Check that. 3rd and 5. For FAMU. And again, I think 0 is Pruitt. Jeremy Pruitt. You know, Pruitt, it didn't look like Pruitt kind of fought to get through that defensive back who was guarding him there. And are we going to punt this?
No, looks like no. We're going for 3.
It's a field goal attempt.
That's a 55-yarder.
Wow. Okay.
50 yards. Excuse me. That's 50 yards.
Kick is up by Romo Martinez.
And it is good. No good.
No good.
Let's take another break, Brian.
All right. We'll take another break. You're watching the BCSN Game Time Watch Party right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and Instagram.com.
All right, back to live action here. Alabama State with a big play. That is Tevin Sharp with a 12-yard run on 1st down for Alabama State. You know, Drew, we talk about drive efficiency here, and yeah, we were kind of, we were beating up Alabama State, but let's look at FAMU here in just a second as you see the Rattler defensive front with a nice stop there. Jacoby Merritt with a loss of 2. What I was gonna say, Drew, is look at these last drives by FAMU. Field goal attempt to start the third quarter, but the last 2 punts, and now we've got a string here of 3 consecutive drives where the Rattlers have come out empty after scoring 21 points.
Hey, just giving you an update, Ryan. Delaware State 33, Wagner 27th in overtime. Wagner has the ball 4th and 12.
Wagner. I've got to look at my chart here to see whether Wagner is FCS or not. All right, what do we got here? 3rd and 13.
That game is gone final, Brian. Delaware State 33, Wagner 27 in overtime. That is gone final.
Good win for the Hornets. And there's a deep shot, overthrew everybody, the receiver and the
but
DBs.
The back judge. Back judge was the only one who had a chance at that one.
Woo! That's a heck of an arm there by Miles Crawley. I guess we missed the change in the quarterback there to start this drive as Miles Crawley came in there for Ryan Nettles. And so that was Crawley on the last 2 pass attempts for Alabama State, who unfortunately are doing what they've done all game today, punt.
Absolutely nothing offensively.
Well, this one will take a bounce, and Sherrod will get brought down at about the 17. It's like about the 17-yard line, Jamari Sherrod. Let me go through a few statistics here. We didn't get a chance to come through to let people know. 7:08 remaining here in the third quarter. The Rattlers have rushed for 89 yards on 24 attempts. Alabama State, 55 yards on 18 attempts to this point. The Rattlers have racked up 152 passing yards on 11 completions. Alabama State, just 3 completions for 17 yards. Total plays and yardage, FAMU, 45 plays, 241 yards. Alabama State, 33 plays, 72 yards. Inside handoff to Jennings. Jennings by a shoelace. He's brought down at the 40-yard line. Great job of blocking by that offensive line. Look at the hole that's just opening up there as Jennings. I tell you, we're seeing the offense that I had hoped we would see. We're seeing Terrell Jennings now with 9 attempts and 38 net yards. McLeod, 4 carries, 29 yards. Bonnet has had 4 carries, and actually McLeod, who just had a carry there, that's 5. But the Jennings and McLeod feature has worked. And that's what we had hoped we would see. I mean, we say we, me and Kelvin, Rozier, Kofi Hemingway, part of the ONG Strike Zone, where we talk all things FAMU athletics. That's one of the things we had been harping on, Drew, was if FAMU could get to a point of running those 2 big backs and maybe use Bonnet in some different ways. Come with the Thunder first and then go with the Lightning. I think FAMU was trying to go more Lightning than Thunder. And I know that's how it's supposed to work, right? Lightning comes before the Thunder, right?
Correct.
Yeah, well, I think what FAMU needed was to bring the Thunder first and then hit you with the Lightning. Do it the opposite way. And we see it's working. It has worked wonders.
At least in this one game sample.
You know, that's all. We're 1-0, Drew. We're trying to go 1-0. That's all we can focus on right now. 1-0, and then see what happens. All right, 3rd and 12, bunch set here. That looks like that's Bishop Bonnet to the left of McKay. And I have no idea who he's throwing to on that one. Was that? I mean, they're showing Xavier Smith there. I don't know. Was that Xavier Smith? Because that ball was high. I got my man on TV. Oh, I didn't put my man on TV like that. That's wrong. That's wrong. Chuck. I didn't put Chuck on TV like that. That's so messed up. Come on. See, that's somebody. So you didn't do somebody right when they put you on TV when you got a steak sandwich in your hand like that. That's a live ball right here.
That's fumble. He's got to return that. That should be a safety.
Safety? Let's see what they say.
It should be because he touched it in the field of play.
They confer. Let's see what they say.
If he catches it out there,
well, he touched it.
He has the momentum wrong, but he touched it and buffed it, and then was tackled in the end zone. That should be a safety.
Here comes the replay. Let's take a look at it here. Beautiful punt again by Romo Martinez. Man, had to go back about 15 yards. My goodness.
They're still talking.
We saw some beautiful punts by Fadul, but then to be able to go to Romo Martinez, and he's just booming kicks.
They ruled it as a touchback on the field.
Oh, really?
But they're talking. Let's see what we got. I don't know if we can get some audio from the production.
I think they're going to rule this a touchback because I'm seeing the offense on the field now. They're going to spot it at the 20.
That could be huge.
But I wonder if Willie Simmons could challenge this.
It was clear that the Hornet, he touched it inbound. Man touched the ball inbound. Ran into the end zone.
Does he have a flag? They don't do flags in college, do they?
No, you have to take a timeout.
Yeah. I don't think coach is going to take a timeout here. All right, Crawley is back in at quarterback. Looks like he has a. Oh well.
We got.
Yeah, number 84 was the intended target. That was Wallace Corker. I think Alabama State just rolled out a third quarterback, Drew.
Yeah. I was going to say, I will see if I can find a ruling on that. Go through a couple of rule sites. But, hey, Brian, check this out. 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. Shawan, 59. Winston-Salem, goose egg.
Ooh. Hey, well, Shawan. Now, the thing is, Shawan in the CIAA, they were one of the teams to beat one of the last Northern Division losses by Bowie State over the last 2 or 3 years came to Shawan, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a team that Bryce Witt over there at Shawan, he knows how to beat Bowie State. Can't wait for that game. That'll be a big game. And I think this is week 2 over in the CIAA of the North versus South.
Yes, this is another crossover week.
Yeah, the North won 4-2 last week. All right, so Joe Owens is the quarterback of record right now for Alabama State, the third quarterback of this ball game, and actually the second of this half. As Miles Crawley started the last drive, and now here's Owens. And that handoff there was to Ezra Gray for 2 yards.
Halftime score from the CIAA. Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No. Go ahead. I was just going to talk about Gray's rushing numbers. Go ahead with your score update.
Fayetteville State 20, Lincoln 0.
Ugh. All right, 3rd down and 3 here.
Got some laundry on the field.
Well, what do we got? I think this might be a false start or a delay. Might be a delay.
Delay a game.
Yeah. They called that on FAMU? How does that happen, Drew? Was that the right signal? Was that a delay?
Unless the defensive player was simulating the snap count, which made the offensive player jump.
Okay.
That would be the only way you could call that on the defense.
All right. Stepping up in the pocket and passing that one's complete out to the 45-yard line. Joe Owens with a nice pass there to Wallace Corker for 12 yards on the FAMU side of the ball. So we've seen Alabama State with a couple of drives here where they've made it into FAMU territory. You know, they weren't having much success with that earlier. Owens dropping back. Here's some pressure up the middle. Has to avoid dancing all over the field. And he's actually going to run for a gain of maybe about 6 or 7. Man, Joe Owens having to show some dancing moves there. Watch the pressure up the middle here. 93. Boy, had to avoid a couple of green jerseys there up the middle. That's a gain of 8. 93 is Donald Hall. All right, so looks like we've got a penalty, a holding that was called on Alabama State. That's going to drop them back 10 yards, makes it 1st and 20 from their own 45-yard line. Woo! Beautiful tackle there made by number 21, Timothy Williams. What do we got there, Drew?
I'm sorry. I was still looking up that rule from the from the safety, non-safety.
Well, let me see if they show that replay again. I thought that was 21. That might have been 27 to Darius Fagan. That 1 and 7 might look the same on those jerseys. So that could have been Fagan who made that tackle. Here comes the blitz by the Rattlers. Nice job. Nice tackle in the backfield. That was number 3. We know who that is. That was Antoine Collier. Nice job by Collier on the blitz there. He makes the tackle on Gray. And Ezra Gray is just being bottled up today. 9 net yards for Ezra Gray. We were telling our good friend Travis Jerome, we hope that Ezra Gray breaks out next week. Didn't really want him to break out this week. He hadn't had a big game yet. Yeah, there's some.
We got a flag right there. The ball that was thrown behind the receiver.
Yeah, but you can't mug the guy out there in the open space like that. I mean, He slowed up and then he got
But
mugged.
the defender had the inside position for the ball. The ball was thrown closer to the defender spot than the offensive player spot. That should be a no call right there. All right.
Well, but if you inhibit if you inhibit the receiver from having a chance at making a play, that's got to be a call.
The ball in the air, both players have a right to the ball. You just can't go through the other player, and the offensive player at that point had to go through the defensive player to get to the ball.
I didn't see it that way. I saw the DB who was behind the offensive guy inhibit him from going up and making a play.
So the Alabama State gets rewarded for a bad pass.
Oh, what a hit! Oh, woo! Oh, they're gonna call targeting. There, that flag right there. Kendall Bowler, watch this hit, Drew. But let's see if they show if this is targeting.
Ooh.
Watch. That's a shoulder. He dropped a shoulder.
And he thrust himself forward. That's one of those that may have hurt the hitter more than the hittee.
Well, actually, there was not targeting. The flag on the field.
They got a hold.
Yeah. Man, my goodness, Kendall Bowler, redshirt sophomore from a Coe transfer from Mercer. What a hit. There's some Rattler VIPs chilling. All right, 1st and 20. Owens, here comes the pressure. He's got to chuck it. I'll tell you what, Drew. I know FAMU's defense gets a lot of praise for what they did against Jackson State. This is the most impressive I've seen all season from this group. And I think it's because of the pressure that we're seeing from the front four, front six. Outstanding job. Shout out your grandmamas and your mama and your mama's friend and all your people there.
Yeah, yep. Yes, sir.
Looks like we got a timeout coming up on the field. Let's step away while we have a timeout on the field. You're watching the BCSN Game Time Watch Party live from Bragg Stadium. We'll be back right after these words.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working.
Never not working. Never, ever not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
You see, Head & Shoulders has Scalp Shield technology, protects against flakes, even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. Number 15?
Never not working.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
You're looking for the latest information.
All right, back to live action here. Coming out of that break, that last play that we just had was a Joe Owens pass complete to Wallace Corker for 11 yards. But guess what? That's going to be the last play of the third quarter. So we're going to go right back to another commercial break here. And you can stick with us. The Rattlers is still 21-0. No scores from that anybody in that third quarter. We'll be back for the start of the fourth. Right after this, you're watching the BCSN Game Time Watch Party on the Black College Sports Network.
You see, Head & Shoulders has scalp shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome everybody to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders scalp shield technology.
HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time. I'm proud and I love my HBCU. HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time. I'm proud and I love my HBCU.
All right, started the fourth quarter here. Joe Owens, and there he is, sacked right in the backfield. Let's see who gets the credit for that one, Drew. Did you catch the number on that? And that's our guy, Isaiah Land. And he was being held, Drew. He was being held, and he comes up with the sack. I believe that's his third sack of the ball game. Blowing up that left tackle once again and being held. No call on the holding, though. So that was a loss of 3. That's Land's third sack. 4th and 11 for Alabama State. This is the deepest they've been in FAMU territory at the 30. Owens, he was trying to signal to Hickson, but Hickson,
Try to signal to him to go deep, it looks like.
Yeah, or just sit down. One of the two. Maybe just sit down in the middle of that zone. But, again, I wonder how much he could have run. Now, I mean, obviously he had to pick up 11 yards, but I wonder how much. And so a 9-play drive, 50 yards, comes to an end for Alabama State. That's the second time that Alabama State has had a drive end on downs. They started
is that the longest drive?
It is the longest. 9 plays. Yeah, 9 plays, 50 yards, 632 was the longest. The previous long was 8 plays, 38 yards. That, too, ended in downs on the FAMU 37. So, again, the defense has stopped Alabama State twice on downs in their own territory between the 30 and 40-yard line.
Now we're going to see how good FAMU's running game is, because Alabama State knows FAMU is trying to run the ball now. Let's see how good this offensive line and how good this running game is now when the other team knows you're going to do it, and if you can still do it.
How concerned would you be, Drew? 3 of the last 4 possessions, FAMU has punted, and that 4th was a field goal attempt that was missed. Are you concerned?
Yes. Consistency. Consistency is almost the same thing as when we talk about that other A&M, Alabama A&M. You can't put together a complete game. You start the game good or you finish the game good. Can we put together 4 complete quarters? Well, we lost that third quarter. Well, or at least played even in that third quarter. Let's go out. Let's win this 4th quarter if you're a Rattler.
There's an end around. There's a handoff there, actually, to Bonnet as he gets held up there by number 59 for Alabama State, and that's going to end up being 3rd and 12. seemed like the Rattlers are content to kind of just run the clock. They're not going to throw anything to stop the clock on third down. FAMU on third down, 6-14. I think the stat I saw coming into this ball game, FAMU is under 30% on their third down efficiency. And Drew, the only thing that makes that easy to swallow, and look at this punt by Romo Martinez. Look at this punt. My goodness.
I bet you if you're Alabama State, you go get out the way before you buff it into the end zone again.
I'll tell you what, if he had kicked that field goal by 50, he might be up for special teams player of the week in a lot of different places if that field goal would have gone in. Speaking of that punt, you had a nice interpretation, or you finally found some information on that play earlier regarding a punt that possibly should have been or could have been a safety back in I think, was that the third quarter?
Yes, that was back in the third quarter. And what you have to do is you have to go to Rule 8, Section 5, Article 1. And the only thing that you could go into is the exception. When the ball is inside the 5, the momentum rule possibly applied at that spot. And the rule says, when in doubt, you rule it a touchback. So in the judgment of that official, that was a buff that went into the end zone, which you can recover the buff because it's a buff inside the 5. Now, where I think there was a difference of interpretation, that ball should have been brought out to the spot of first touching, not to the 20. But it's up for interpretation. I'm going to have to make some calls this evening to see if I can talk to a couple of NCAA officials and friends of mine.
All right, that last play by Alabama State was a Ja'Cory Merritt rush for 9 yards. And then on second down and 1, Merritt gets no gain as he stood up right there. Donovan Mobley, Antoine Collier on the stop there for FAMU. And under center, hold on. What do we have here? Might be a dead ball. Flag on the play on 3rd and 1. Well, I already see a change of personnel coming in. So it looks like we've got, what is that, offsides on FAMU?
Yes, it was. Update, Brian, from Fairfield, Alabama. Albany State, 14, Miles, 3 at the half.
World famous Stingettes. All right, 1st and 10 for Alabama State. Owens going deep downfield. Outthrows his intended target, number 84, Wallace Corker. I'm looking to see if I have the number of targets because I feel like Corker has been targeted a ton. Owens back to pass, going up and coming down with that one. Beautiful catch right there for Alabama State by number 81, Keyshawn Johnson. I I think he'll come up short, though, of the 10 he needed. He'll probably get about 8 or 9, though. I feel like he went up at about the 30. Yeah, they're going to give him credit for where he went up.
His momentum took him backwards, jumping to ensure that he caught the ball. And you can't get mad at a receiver. They tell you, make sure that you come back to the ball. So he did what he was supposed to do as a receiver, except he didn't run his route deep enough.
3rd and 1, short yardage opportunity here for Alabama State. Owens in the shotgun. He keeps going around left side, cuts back up the middle. He's got the first down and more, yeah.
What would have been interesting if Alabama State doesn't get that first down? Do they go for it?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Probably not, though, given the fact of where they're at.
Yeah. And great job. This is, you say, this is the 3rd quarterback, Brian. You know, Nettles got hurt early in the game, so, hey, you went deeper to your depth chart than you originally planned, but since Owens has come on the field, Alabama State's offense has looked better than it did under the first 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, Owens is listed. He's a big kid. Now, all of these quarterbacks, although Owens is listed as 6'4", he doesn't look 6'4". I mean, I'm trying to, it's hard to tell. Obviously, we're not there. We're not looking at him up close, but I'm just kind of going off build, and I'm looking at, Nettles is 6'4", listed as 6'4", and I don't know. There's just something about his frame that just looks 6'4". Owens looks more like 6 foot, maybe 6'1", but he's listed as 6'4", though, so. Okay, if you say so. We'll have to talk to our people.
It's not basketball where you get the customary 1.5 inches.
2nd and 12. Owens over the middle.
Great catch. Great catch.
Great catch there. Yeah, that time again. Nice pass there by Keyshawn Johnson. There's a pickup of 19 yards over the middle.
Into Rattler territory again, Brian.
Uh-huh. It'd be a big momentum boost here if they're able to produce a touchdown here.
And both of these teams top 10 in the HBCU Pro Sports Media poll.
There's a pass out towards the sideline. And again, now that time, that is Corker with the reception. I saw there's just about 7:30 to play in the 4th quarter. 7:30. And it's going to be a first down. Ball spotted at about the 28. Owens, woo, and trying to get somewhere wrapped up in the backfield. Is that Fagan, number 27? Yeah, that was Fagan on that one. Ja'Cory Rush with a loss of 2 yards, so it's now 2nd down and 12 for Alabama State. Shotgun formation. Owens towards the sideline. Picked off. Up the sideline. Cross midfield. Still going at the 40. Loses his helmet at the 35, but a beautiful catch. Interception made by, I believe that was... Let's take a look at that.
Pull that thing down, and I tell you what, he showed some speed. Tremendous play by Courtney Cox.
Courtney Cox.
Courtney Cox.
And
Whew, made a couple of offensive linemen run into each other, or a lineman and a receiver run into each other. That wasn't pretty.
And I think we've got an injured player also on the play, Brian. Don't know exactly who that is, but it might be a good time for us to take a break.
Well, let's see. Did it happen right there when those two offensive linemen and receivers ran into each other?
That might have been it right there, because it is on the Rattlers sideline.
Yeah. All right. So while they attend to the injured player on the FAMU sideline, we'll step away for a short moment. You're watching the BCSN Game Time Watch Party on the Black College Sports Network.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working.
Never not working. Never ever not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
You see, Head & Shoulders has Scalp Shield technology, protects against flakes, even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. Number 15?
Never not working.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Troy,
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
For my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching say, make this for my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching, hey, 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 hey.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working.
Never not working. Never ever not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. Looks like we've got our bearings set. Not quite sure who the injured player was, although we're kind of speculating. We think it might be an Alabama State player, but we're not quite 100 sure. For those of you who are still watching us on YouTube, and we appreciate you coming back and doing so, why don't you do us one more solid and make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to the JBN channel there, Jericho Broadcast Network's channel. If you're watching us on YouTube, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit a like on the broadcast. We appreciate you hanging in there with us, coming back, as some of you did, so we very much appreciate you. All right, here's McKay in the shotgun. There's a handoff up the middle. I believe that is Bishop Bonnet across the 25, almost down to the 20 goes Bishop. And I would really like to see FAMU get a drive here and get a touchdown on this last drive. I think you got to get the nasty taste of these last couple of drives out of your mouth if you're FAMU. I mean, 4 of the last 5 have ended in punts. Got to be better than this. Next week, you're going to have a hungry South Carolina State team in Bragg. Can't take them lightly. Not especially not after they got their first win of the season today against Bethune-Cookman. There's another run by Bonnet.
Yeah. Another Hornets down, looks like.
I think they're taking more.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if you look at the SWAC schedule this week and next week, Brian, a lot of trap games. We saw one earlier today with Alabama A&M losing. Maybe looking ahead to the Jackson State game. But there are a lot of trap games over the next couple of weeks for these SWAC teams looking ahead to possibly bigger opponents.
Yeah. I'm always interested in the theory. We say that, the whole looking ahead thing, and it sounds cliche. I don't know how true it is.
You're Alabama A&M. You're on a roll.
Well,
Grambling is playing, not
get
playing
all that.
up to Grambling standards. You have Jackson State next week.
I get all that.
It's human nature to look ahead.
Is it human nature when you are an athlete and your entire focus and the attention you are given on a day-to-day is about focusing in on this practice, this moment, this week, this game? How do you let your mind start drifting off to next week?
Brian,
I mean, really, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
You coach just like I do. And how many times would you have your rival game on a Friday night, because both of us coach basketball? That Tuesday night game sometimes does not get the focus that it should, not only by you or your coaching staff, but also by the players, because they start talking trash, getting ready for that Friday night rival game.
I'm not in that. I can't subscribe to that because I'm focused in on that Tuesday game. If I'm trying to win every game, I'm focused in on that game that I got to play, because that game that you're mentioning on Friday is 3 days away. So I don't have to put my attention on it if I got a game coming up on a Tuesday. I'm focused in on this game.
Especially if you and that rival are playing for region champion, area regular season champion, or something along those lines.
Okay, but again, I'm just trying to ask us to really, I know it sounds, but because that's what's going to happen with the next 48, 72 hours, Black College media is going to be talking out of their yin-yangs about Alabama A&M, looking ahead. I'm just asking, is that real? Is that realistic? I mean, they've got Grambling. I'm sure somebody had to say, hey guys, watch out for this Grambling team. This team has lost the last 3 weeks. They're hungry. They just made a change at quarterback. Don't take them lightly. You've done nothing to warrant being able to take anybody lightly. Not after you just gave up 35 points to Tuskegee. You know, I'm just gonna ask: is it realistic? I just want us to go deep into our own personal. And I appreciate you sharing how you, as a coach, have approached those games as a rival. But as coaches and players, I'm just gonna ask us to really emphasize and really talk about. There's
Bishop
a
Bonnet
touchdown
with a
by
touchdown.
Bishop Bonnet. Yes, sir.
Well, that's a much needed touchdown, not for the score factor for FAMU, but just the fact that they played the third quarter even with Alabama State. If they would have gone and went scoreless also in the fourth quarter, might have been a momentum downer as they get ready for South Carolina State next week. They needed to come out and win this quarter and once again fortify that they are a good football team and can possibly close a game.
4 straight carries to Bishop Bonnet from 13, 6, 4 13 yards, 4 6 yards, 4 7 yards, and then the touchdown right there for 9 yards. So there's the lightning after you've been hit with the thunder all day. See what I mean? See? It works the opposite of the natural, the natural conventional wisdom of lightning then thunder. See? FAMU hit them with the thunder, and now they just went to the little quick scat back, and now he's just untouchable. Who would have known? You bring in Bishop Bonnet to close out the ball game, Drew, after you've been hitting them hard with Jennings and McLeod.
All right, now here's the question of the day, Brian. As we start getting together, looking for a possible game MVP, you looking at Bonnet or you looking at Smith? Bonnet, 9 carries, 46 yards on the day, 5-yard carry and 1 rushing touchdown. Bonnet also with 1 catch for 11 yards. Xavier Smith, 6 catches, 62 yards, a 10.3 average and a long of 22.
You do
also,
understand Bonnet.
Xavier has 1 rush for 6 yards today also.
No, but you understand, you just mentioned how many yards for Bonnet? His 45 net yards all came on that last drive right there. 4 plays, he got 45 yards on 4 plays.
I'm just putting it out there for discussion purposes. You got to put it. You got to start for especially.
I think it's Xavier Smith. Hands down, Xavier Smith, 6 catches, 62 yards, leading receiver today. And then had the touchdown on the handoff on the jet sweep. But here's what I will say. I'm gonna as good as Rashawn McKay started, and I'm just looking at the passing progression here with completions of 7 of his first 9. I mean, he started in the 70% range. 7 of his first 9 were completions. 2 of them were first downs. 1 of them was a touchdown. But really, the second half, I mean, he's thrown 23 passes. The second half has not been good to him.
Yeah.
So, he's not losing games, and I know that's what we're going to harp on. He's not losing games, but this is a game where he started out well, and it kind of went south for him. A lot of incompletions on third down. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just kind of run through them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 third down pass attempts. Actually, 5. So he was 1 of 5 on third down pass attempts in his last 10 throws.
Yeah. Crawley back in at quarterback for Alabama State, Brian.
Yeah, and that's good for Alabama State. Get these two young guys some reps. We're not really sure. You mentioned that Nettles went out with an injury. So, I don't know. It could have just been inefficiency. I missed the injury aspect, but I know Nettles was incomplete on his last 8 throws.
Yeah. And looks like, Alabama State is content with trying to run the clock out and just get out of this game without anyone else getting hurt, as they had a couple players hurt on that last FAMU drive.
Yeah, look, Drew, we got a clock. 1 minute and 31 left to play.
In the fourth quarter, they finally get the clock fixed.
Well, hey, we of all people aren't going to nitpick about little technical quirks and issues. We're just going to applaud the fact that there's a clock.
We've had our fair share of them also.
Yes, we have.
Got a flag on the play.
It looks like our
sportsmanlike against number 1 on the defense.
1 is Bowler, I believe. Well, let's hope that FAMU doesn't give up a touchdown. See, that's the one thing I think, they don't want to get shut out here. So, I mean, there's a lot of pride at stake for Alabama State. They do not want to get shut out. Already having been shut out by Auburn. You don't want to get shut out by a SWAC school, especially FAMU.
Well, that's a different level of shutout than Auburn shutout.
Shutout's a shutout. I don't care who it is. Sisters of the Poor or Alabama. You get shut out, you get shut out. You don't want it. That tackle made by Timothy Williams Jr., number 21 there, FAMU. The extra point was good. They do have 28 by the statistician, even though it says 27 on the screen there. That ball
low and outside right
caught. There. Yeah. But 49 seconds left. See if FAMU can hold on to this shutout. Let's see if I can find some quick stats and tell us the last time FAMU had a shutout.
Haven't heard anything about the crowd, Brian. What you think our crowd numbers look like?
You know what?
First down right there on the run.
Hey, that was a touchdown-saving tackle there, by the way.
Yeah. Alabama State running tempo. Hey, Chaney makes a good play right there.
Yeah, that's a good run. That's Jared Daniels who picked up 11 on that last run. The shutout, FAMU's defense might be an extra steak dinner if you can get this shutout. You might just be eating just one steak. No, you don't get 2 steaks. Or no lobster with the steak. Oh, there's it. Looks like that's going to do it. So FAMU's going to hold on and get that shutout after all. So it looks like the final score, despite what it says on the screen, they updated it. It is 28-0 if you had the under cha-ching. I really thought this was going to be an over game, but impressive performance by Florida A&M, and I'm looking at the total yardage here. Alabama State, got some late runs, and they kind of went over the yardage mark there. Almost 100 yards rushing in the contest. They ended up with 98 on 31 attempts. FAMU with 141 rushing yards on 33 attempts. 99 receiving yards for Alabama State, 152 receiving yards for FAMU. In total, FAMU ran 56 plays for 293 yards. Alabama State 59 plays for 197. I would say that number, that total play and yardage definitely, if you just looked at the first 3 quarters, total domination by FAMU. Most impressive defensive performance I think we've seen all season by the Rattlers. Outstanding punting in terms of special teams. Got to shout out Jose Romo Martinez. 6 punts, averaged 54 yards per punt. My goodness. 6 punts, 54 yards per punt, Drew. The long was 64.
Ooh.
Yeah, 4 of his 6 punts were 50-plus yarders. 2 fair catches. 2 of them dropped inside the 20. Outstanding job by Romo Martinez. Like I said, if that field goal goes in, Drew, I don't know. He still might be a special teams player of the week. It might be, we'll have to wait to see what happens. But
definitely.
The first half, though, Drew, FAMU was just ridiculous defensively, holding Alabama State to 1 first down in the first and second quarter. That's 2 total. Holding Alabama State to -1 rushing yard and 8 rushing yards. That's first and second quarter. 17 yards passing in the first quarter, none in the second. So, that first half, I'm doing the math here. That's 24 total yards that they held Alabama State to. That is an impressive defensive performance in the first half. We're going to take a break and come back with our offensive and defensive players of the week. I might even have a special guest come in and join us to talk a little bit about this contest. You're watching the BCSN Game Time Watch Party. FAMU with a victory, 28-0 over Alabama State. We'll be back right after these words.
You see, Head & Shoulders has scalp shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome everybody to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders scalp shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
All right, joining us is the dean of HBCU football. It's none other than Dr. Kenyatta Cavill of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, right here every Tuesday and Thursday, as well as Sunday mornings on the Black College Sports Network. Doc, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. It was a long day as I participated in Texas Southern University homecoming. Got to take Deuce out there so he could enjoy the parade and all. So my day started at 6:30. So I'm running on fumes, but I got to watch many of the HBCU games. And with this said, this performance on the defensive side by the Florida A&M Rattlers for their home debut in terms of their membership in the Southwestern Athletic Conference was certainly a statement.
Doc, did you hear the stats that I gave about what FAMU did in the first half in terms of allowing 24 total yards and 2 first downs in the first half? I mean, literally 1 first down per quarter. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you've seen a lot of SWAC football. Let me know. Have you seen a first half like this in the SWAC before? I mean, when was the last time you may have seen?
Yeah, we've seen it in the SWAC before, but it's been a while. And when I mean while, it's been a couple of decades since we've seen these type of defenses. The Prairie View team in 2009, that was a top 5 FCS defense. Really was probably the 2008 comes to mind. And then obviously you got 100 years of history in the SWAC. So you got some times before the ball was really thrown in the air moving forward. You had some defensive games like this, but that is not to take anything away from the FAMU Rattlers. I'd rather focus in terms of what they were able to get done today. And we can just take a data point, as my co-host Mike Washington would like to say. You're talking about an Alabama State team that has been able to put up some points other than their first game they had against Miles. But they have a pretty formidable offense, if you would. So to come in and do this to an Alabama State offense is a major statement in and of itself. And this is 2 significant data points in terms of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. As we know, when they opened up the season, they had a similar performance against Jackson State University. Jackson State got out of there with the win, so it obviously was not a shutout. And we've seen that Jackson State offense can put some things together when they got up against Tennessee State and what they did against Delta State to some degree. So you put all those together, it's significant to be able to say that FAMU's defense is going to be one that needs to be reckoned with the rest of the way through this conference year. The other side of that, though, to be questioned a little bit, is FAMU offense. And we've seen that be some concerns. And while they were able to get out a big lead, and you got to have credit to them for them to do that, there still has to be some question marks in regards to FAMU's offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, the one thing that I will say, and I thought the strategy of using the bigger backs, Terrell Jennings, Jalen McLeod, worked wonders for FAMU today. Instead of leading with Bishop Bonnet, the smaller back, I like to call him the lightning of the Thunder and Lightning. It's almost like, most teams hit you with, obviously lightning comes before the thunder, right? I was telling Drew, I think FAMU needs to take that opposite approach and bring the thunder first, then the lightning hits you, which is what we saw today. I thought the thunder of the bigger backs wore on Alabama State and allowed a lot of things to open up for the passing game early. Rashawn McKay, when he did look good, was within his first 10 pass attempts where he was at the 70% mark. But like you said, what worries me is the second half. The second half of his pass attempts were not as good as the first. Prior to the Bonnet touchdown, 5 of the 6 drives ended in punts. Those are the things that, look, I guess when your defense is playing as well as FAMU's is, and I'm not ready to say it's championship level defense yet, because we got a lot more football to go, but it looks like it could be. And so when your defense plays as well as it does, yeah, you get away with some extra stuff on offense. And I think everybody wants, the high scoring offense. But like I told my guys on the ONG Strike Zone, Doc, FAMU scoring 30 is going to be hard. And look where they ended up, 28.
If they'd hit that field goal, that was blocked.
50-yard field goal.
That 30.
50-yard field goal, though.
Yes. Yeah. But, Brian, one thing I wanted to bring out as I'm kind of glancing here at the stats, back in July, back in Media Day, Willie Simmons said We've gone from Ryan Stanley. He wanted to look more balanced, more of a 60-40 or 55-45 as far as pass to rushes. Little did we know that it was going to be on the flip side like it is in this game. Fam, you rushed the ball in this game 33 times for 141 yards and passed the ball 23 times, but 23 attempts, completing 11 of those for 152 yards. So
Willie Simmons listens to the ONG. I'm telling you now, I'm convinced. Willie Simmons listens to the ONG strike zone. Who said that's what the game plan and strategy needed to be? This guy. I'm gonna give myself some flowers because no one else will give me flowers. I'm gonna give myself
go back
some
and roll
flowers.
tape. Go back and roll tape. I want to hear that.
Yes. Doc, let's flip it over to Alabama State. You mentioned the fact that they looked really impressive against Bethune-Cookman, especially what they did early in those first 5-6 possessions, I think it was. And so this was kind of odd for them. Where do you draw this up? I mean, I don't know. Like, I got to look. Who is Alabama State looking ahead? My God, I hope they weren't looking ahead to anybody. What's your take on Alabama State today?
I do not. I heard your game tape framework about looking ahead, and I happen to be like Drew. I think it's easier for coaches not to look ahead. But you talking about young folks. Young folks always look ahead because they don't necessarily live in the moment in a lot of ways, and that's what gets them in trouble because they can't see past the fact that they need to look down the road. So it doesn't surprise me that young people, no matter how much you tell them to focus on this, is that, yeah, they'll focus on this by the time you said to play, but that doesn't mean you get their attention. And that's just young people. And that's in some ways why I say that you need to love the college game, because it is about all these mistakes and the great plays all mixed into one, because you're not talking about professionals who in their own way can get in their own way at times, even from the professional side. So it shouldn't surprise you about that. But to get more back to your point in terms of Alabama State, third down efficiency 4-13, fourth down, they were 0-2. You still got a young quarterback, and we forget that at times. This young man is his sophomore year, but, not a true freshman, but he hasn't played a lot of snaps. And so if you have a good defense, you're able to get physical up front and mix some stuff up. You can catch him, not really recognizing things. You can catch him making mistakes. You can catch him not getting in balance. So if you have the ability to do that on the defensive side, you can see how you can slow down that offense. When they get rolling, like you've seen that one drive, they can put up some plays other than that interception that stopped it. So that's one of the things that you're starting to see. The other thing that I really talk about, data points that sometimes we don't get into, is each game is its own independent game. And so while you use stats to give you some framework of what's going on, you still have to look at what takes place in an independent game that allows certain trends and things to happen that it can explain the framework of a game in itself that may be outside of what a team normally does. So you have those type of games, right, where games get going and laddered up and folks just get a fast-paced game, and that may not be traditionally how you play, and it ends up being a high-scoring game that we saw a couple of weeks ago with Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Alcorn State. You see those games that kind of get in those lathers, and they are the nature, and at that point you're trying to make whatever happens to work out in your favor so you can get the win. But I just think that you're going to have this kind of year in the SWAC where you're going to see some upsets. We'll get probably into some of these scores, and we can talk about that a little later after we provide, the final analysis of this game. But you're going to get those ebbs and flows in the season. You're going to see teams do things that you don't, especially when you have what I'm seeing take place in the SWAC. You see like Alabama A&M that is really good on offense. You see FAMU that's really good on defense. Jackson State is really good on defense. You see a Grambling State team that's really good on defense. And notice I'm talking about them being really good on one side of the ball, but just as good as they are on one side of the ball, not very good on the other side of the ball. And so now you start to look and see, are there some teams that are more balanced? And what does that do? Are you one of those guys that have a philosophy that you would like to see a team that has a little more balance on both sides? Or do you think you can get away with having a team that is great on one side or the other? The last thing I'll say before I chase it back, I will say this. I don't need any more evidence to know that FAMU has a championship defense. That's without a doubt. The defense is strong enough to support them in a championship run. The question is can you get the offense up enough to support the defense? Because I don't care how good your defense is, if the offense can't make enough plays, the defense will get tired. And that's not always on the defense. Or if your offense is bad enough where they make mistakes, throw interceptions for pick six, give up bad field position, I don't care how good your defense is, they can put you in trouble. And vice versa when you've seen today with Alabama A&M that has a really good offense. But if your defense doesn't do well, or if your offense puts you in a couple of bad plays and you don't have a defense that can help change the momentum, you can find yourself with an L real quick.
Great points.
Question for
real quick,
discussion
Drew, so we can go to
show.
Players of the Week.
All right.
Go ahead, Drew. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Doc, good one that you might want to put down for a question on your tomorrow morning show. Who is the most balanced team in the SWAC? It's something that we could talk about on the morning edition of Dr. Kavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Yeah, I'm going to try not to be biased, so I'm going to put this on you because you called them out very early in the year. So I'm going to give you credit, AD Drew. What I'm starting to see is one of the teams that seems to be pretty balanced and certainly seems to have a better defense than what they've had in years past. And you know they're pretty solid on offense. And as these data points coming in, is this little thing that I got back here on this other side talking about Prairie View A&M University that you picked to win the West. It's early, but they have done what they're supposed to do. And if you look even at their loss to Connor Word, who is now doing well in terms of their record 3-1, including being like 2-0, I think, in the Southland Conference, dominating some teams. So even that loss seems to be a little more respected than it was. And then you get the big victory by Grambling today, one that they controlled. That Prairie View team seems to be one that you better keep your eyes on because they seem to be getting it right on both sides of the ball. Last thing I will say about that defense, which is a point I made, it's one of the few defenses where I have seen them being able to cover for when the offense makes mistakes. I've seen 3 times this year by 3 different teams where the offense has turned the ball over in scoring position, and I'm talking about in the red zone essentially, to the defense, and the defense has come up strong and held each of those opponents to force field goal. That to me is a statement in itself. This is also a team in previous years that would get a lot of penalties. In the game against Pine Bluff, they only had 5 penalties for like 40 yards, basically. One of them was crucial, was on the end of the half touchdown that was called back on a chop block that probably wasn't necessary or whatever. But they're being pretty clean also on the offensive side of the ball. That's a pretty good recipe to add up several W's over a season.
I was just saying that very thing to Jamie Walker a couple days ago. Prairie View, it's like Coach Dooley, his first couple years, he had an outstanding offense. Great quarterback, great running back, subpar defense. Then in the spring, had a great defense and subpar offense. Now it seems like in the fall, it's all coming together on both sides of the ball. Very dangerous team. And I'm glad you brought that point up about a lot of teams playing real strong on one side, but we're kind of missing something on the other. Let's get to the players of the game from today's Florida A&M Alabama State game. I'll start with the defensive side. Our defensive player of the game is going to be number 31 for FAMU, Isaiah Land, the Nissan Defensive Player of the Game. Isaiah, a linebacker, playing more of an outside, either maybe a linebacker, defensive end, however you want to kind of frame that. 6'4", redshirt junior from Buffalo, New York. Today had 4 solo tackles, 5 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss for a total of 20 yards. And then he also had 3 sacks, 1 QB hurry.
Ooh.
Those sacks totaled 18 yards. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, he's going to be in the running for SWAC Defensive Player of the Week. I'm just going to put that out there now. I mean, I think those were difference makers in today's game for Isaiah. Offensively, for the offensive player of the game, and that is the head and shoulders offensive player of the game, that'd be the X-Man himself, Xavier Smith, led FAMU with 6 receptions, 62 yards for an average of 10.3. His longest was a 22-yard catch. He also scored a touchdown, 6-yard rushing touchdown. And then on special teams, because we know the X-Man also returns punts, he had 4 returns for 31 total yards, the long being 26. So congratulations to Xavier Smith and Isaiah Land, our players of the game. All right. So Doc, I know it's homecoming for Texas Southern. So I mean, we can't get away. I know there's a big story, that's the big lead in the SWAC, but we're gonna show you some love. 69-0 over North American University. Big win for Texas Southern. 69 points, coach, with the new helmets and everything. They made Michael Strahan real proud, I'm sure, today.
No doubt about it. Let me get this out of the way. This game did not count in terms of wins, losses on the record sheet in conference. The stats will not count towards Player of the Week because this team is outside of the NCAA bylaws where that can count. But let's be point of fact. Let's look at where Texas Southern was. They were on an 16 losing streak. They needed to feel good.
Yeah.
They poured water on the coach. The coach believes in what's going on. A lot of people believe in the coach. But there's a lot of chatter out there, rightfully so. People have questions about what's going on. You needed to quiet that for at least a moment and get some momentum and some confidence that you can get on. And I think it came at the right time in terms of them going into their next conference game next week against Southern University, Arlington, for that classic game up there. And this is a Southern team that most people think, rightfully so, probably should, get it done against Southern. And they've won in different years. But there are still some question marks for Southern University. Offensively, they're solid. They decided to go back Daniels as the quarterback, but there's been some little questions in terms of what that is looking like. They certainly can run the ball. But defensively, they've allowed teams to put up points. Mississippi Valley. Now, credit to Mississippi Valley. They got a big non-conference win against MEAC, representing the SWAC. It was their homecoming. They got that win, which they needed to get out the loss column, defeating North Carolina Central 17-16, I believe it was. But similar to Texas Southern, when you have not had success in terms of win, even though you're playing well, which we've seen Texas Southern do of late, you need to get that W. And so it'll be interesting to see, can they carry that momentum against Southern next week, and we'll get a chance in real-time play to get an answer to that. But, yes, I think I appreciate the shout-out for Texas Southern University in regards to that, but that's a big picture in terms of what that win may mean to Texas Southern University in the football program. I will say this as a final statement. I know it was good for the alumni. They could care less what other people said in terms of who that team was. All I heard was excitement, time to go celebrate, that the Tigers won a game, and more importantly for them, they won on homecoming. And when you haven't had success in a while, winning on homecoming becomes real big. You get a lot of folks that'll open up those checkbooks a little more friendly, a little more openly. They'll give just a little more because they can go home and beat their chests out and say they got a W during homecoming. All is well.
Yeah.
For at least 1 week.
I said it back in July. I said it back in July. No SWAC team was going to be undefeated. No SWAC team was going to be winners. Y'all remember that? Now we need Valley and Texas Southern to get a conference win now to really make that look good.
Well, there's another fan base. Talk about quieting the noise. There's another fan base that was real happy to get a W today and might have quieted a little bit of the noise down there in Louisiana, and that's Grambling. I mean, there was a lot of noise coming out of Grambling, a lot from Graham fam and all that stuff, and I got to admit the shocker of I haven't gone through the entire scoreboard. Now, there's a few shockers out there, but this
you got one working right now too.
Yeah, this was a shocker. Grambling taking advantage of, and really it comes down to taking advantage of the mistakes. Finally, somebody took advantage of the mistakes by Alabama A&M after being down 14-0. They took advantage of 3 consecutive mistakes, turnovers by Alabama A&M, put up 21 straight points, and next minute you know they were rolling as they pull off the upset over the number 1 ranked team in just about every ranking or poll there is in HBCU football. Alabama A&M, what was the final? 37-28? 37-28. What's your reaction, your thoughts? I'm sure you'll delve into it a little more tomorrow morning, Doc, but your instant reaction today.
My instant reaction is this is big. Welcome to the new SWAC. You will see a lot more of this over the season and moving forward with the 12-team alignment of the SWAC. You'll see some ups and downs and wins and losses that you wouldn't necessarily count on. Alabama A&M has problems going into Grambling, even though in this case you thought it wasn't a big deal, just Grambling's up. But also, we get back to one of the things we talked about early. While Grambling was losing, if you really look closely, you knew they had a strong defense. Their defense has played really well. They played hadn't played very well on offense at all. They made the change, and if you had a chance to listen to the media or got a clips of that, Coach talked about the fact that he was going to make the change this week. He was moving to make the change and purposely decided that he was looking for this game. He really didn't want to bring him out. I think he knew something about Prairie View's defense that we really didn't know. And he knew that this would be a home game. And by now, he played the freshman Bolton a little bit in terms of State Fair Classic to kind of lather him up. But that was in the second half of that game. And so I think he was preparing him for this game. And so they did enough on offense and threw Alabama A&M off enough that they didn't have anything really to go by to understand it. And then you add on the fact that Alabama A&M just turned the ball over too many times. You know, in sports, as coaches, no matter what the sports is, you can't have turnovers and think you be in the game. But let's be careful now. To give you an idea just how talented this team was in terms of Alabama A&M, Grambling was up 35-14.
Yep.
It got to 35-28 with 2 minutes left. Guess who had the ball?
Yeah,
Alabama A&M, because I was watching it and I was calling it out while we were on the simulcast, and we thought Alabama A&M's defense had made another play when they got the interception in the red zone. Little did we know Grambling's defense was going to make the bigger play on the next play and get another interception when A&M took the ball back.
Yeah, that sealed the game, and I should say it was actually 34-28. So you just knew that Glass was going to do what he did, They were going to go down and score, and it was really going to get loud in Grambling. To your point, Brian.
Yeah.
Then they were going to lose 35-24, and everything was going to be happy in Alabama A&M land and the fall out. But no, like you said, the defense stepped up, made one more play, and essentially sealed the deal as they kicked the field goal to make sure as time essentially melted away. But if you're Jackson State, I think you would rather have gotten Alabama A&M after a close win than them having to play them at home for homecoming after a loss. Because you know Coach is going to have that team prepared for Jackson State. And he's going to get all the attention, and he doesn't have to worry about any of the homecoming stuff now. Because this team will focus and certainly will be prepared. So we get another data point next week. It becomes an Eastern Division team game. And obviously Alabama A&M can't afford to lose another game, so they're going to be ready. And Jackson State, as good as they are on defense, they have some question on offense. So that's going to be another one to watch. And then in 2 weeks, we get this FAMU and Alabama A&M.
Oh, let's not look ahead. We can't look
ahead.
No looking ahead. No looking ahead. No looking ahead.
No, I can do that. I can look ahead. The coaches got to worry about it. The players got to worry about all that. I'm the media. I can look ahead as much as you want. They got to find a way to deflect my looking ahead. That's my job. I'm selling.
Speaking of looking ahead, Doc.
That's my responsibility.
Hey, Doc. Speaking of looking ahead, I want to look ahead to the polls that'll be coming out this week with the idle Jackson State and a Prairie View with that great victory that they had on Thursday night. Does Prairie View possibly become the new number one in some polls? I'm just throwing it out there, Doc, because
I think you could. I think to your point, and I love that you brought this up, AD Drew. I think to your point, you can make an argument that Prairie View should be number one. But we know that the human element of both polls has some biasness. And I think the brand of Jackson State, especially with Coach Sanders, and for the fact that they were number two in a lot of polls, even though they were idle this week, they were more likely with their open date, as I like to say, instead of a bye, because it's not really a bye because we don't play everybody. It's an open date on the schedule, is they will jump to number one. You will probably have Prairie View jump to number two. My question, just as much as yours, is how far does Alabama A&M, the Bulldogs, fall?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to throw it out there even further. Does Prairie View have the respect to go to number two? And maybe just Jackson State and A&M flip-flop in a lot of polls with Prairie View staying number three.
One. That's a good one.
Good questions. Good question to ask. All right, fellas, look, we got a lot of look. We have a lot to break down over the course of the next few days. We still got a few games to finish off the Saturday, and then
Albany State up 21-3 with 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
That's a big game for Albany.
Tennessee State up. The only other game that's going on right now, Tennessee State up 3-0, approaching halftime.
Yeah, we had a few teams. Hey, we had a few teams.
Tennessee State's playing Austin Peay.
Yeah, we had a few teams drop some 70 burgers out there. So it'll be. Hey, look, as interesting as the D1 polls are and the majors, or however everybody calls them, the mid-major, the under D1, the D2 NCAA, NAIA poll, however you qualify it, that's the interesting poll. I'm going to tell you now, that is the interesting poll, because watching the shuffle of what's going to happen with 4 or 5 teams is fascinating, because that's the poll I'm looking forward to seeing over the next couple of days.
And so, how disappointed should Langston be?
In the middle of that D2 mid-major, whichever you call it, is going to be very interesting. But the cream at the top of that poll is solid. Langston is solid. Bowie State is solid. But you're right.
Shutout win tonight by Langston. Yeah.
Yeah, Langston should be disappointed, though. They only scored 30 this week.
Yeah, well, they shut everybody out. So I mean, that's that's still 110 points over 2 games and only allowing 6. So and that might be the second shutout of the year by Langston too, if I'm not mistaken. All
Actually,
right, we
I'm
got to
looking at
get
the
ready
score
to
right
go.
now. Yes, that is their second shutout. Matter of fact, Langston has not given up more than 7 points in any game this season.
And that's a team that should be getting more national. And now look, here's a talking point. Why isn't Langston getting more national love in the NAIA polls? I'm just throwing that out there, something to talk about over the next 48 hours.
I could tell you.
No,
I could
you're
tell
not
you
going
that
to say it now. No, hold it. Save it.
I can tell you that one tomorrow, Doc.
Save it. Yes, there you go. Save it for tomorrow or live tomorrow night, Drew. All right, so Doc, what time are you going live, Doc? Is it 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 Central?
Yes, with same original time, 10 Eastern, 9 Central.
Right, and then of course you should be able to catch Drew and I 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern, and then BJ Jones inside HBCU football will be 8 p.m. Eastern. So plenty of shows on the Black College Sports Network to starting from the morning into the evening. We'll be breaking down all of the action from today in Black College football, and then all week we digest and we'll debate and go over and talk over the data points, and then guess what? We'll do it all again next weekend. God, I love this game. Man, beautiful thing. Gotta love it. All right, hey, thanks for everybody for watching. Hey, make sure you like. If you watch this on YouTube, go join and like that YouTube page, MyJBN Online. Make sure you join us on Facebook, wherever you're watching us. Thanks to Florida A&M for allowing us to simulcast the game. Safe travels to Alabama State as they head out. Hope everybody in Tallahassee had a good time, enjoyed themselves. Any final words, Doc, before we close out?
Much love to the Battle of the Bands at halftime. That's the other reason that FAMU decided to join the SWAC. Boy, that was beautiful to see. Man, both of the bands put on a heck of a halftime show.
We're not going to discuss that on this broadcast, Doc. You brought up a sore point.
Doc. All right, we got to go now. We're not going to talk about that. Alabama State looked really good. That's all I'll say. All right.
Hey, Brian, don't forget to mention the pod zone.
Yes. Hey, go find the Pod Zone. BCSN Pod Zone. Everywhere you listen and download shows, you can catch up to any of our shows in an audio form within about 24 hours after the show. All right. That's going to do it for AD Drew, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, our producer, Roy Evans, back in wherever he is in the country, traveling back and forth to make this thing happen. We say thank you for watching us, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central, and then later at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central, the BCSN Sports Wrap. All right, we're out. Peace out.
I'll holla.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft. Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry. Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it. Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta